If you've heard of AI agents but are still waiting to see some real ones, then the wait is over. In this 9x Live session, I teamed up with Flo Crivello, CEO and founder of Lindy, to show exactly the AI agents that each of us is using every day to automate some of our work. Real agents, real use cases, no fluff, from lead gen to personal productivity, all the way down to replying to the YouTube comments of this video. We went at it for about an hour and there are some use case for everyone. So here's the workshop, build AI agents with Lindy. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and otherwise enjoy. New 9x Live workshop, very special one because today we have Flo Crivello, CEO of Lindy, joining us. We're going to talk about one of my favorite topics and one of my favorite platforms. We're going to talk about AI agents and we're going to take a closer look at what you can do with Lindy. So I'm very, very excited because we have 1 hour with Flo and I want most of the time to be dedicated to him and how he's building AI agents at Lindy, some use cases they have internally. I also have some questions on how the platform works. Flo, welcome.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
So we're going to start. No French, please. Yeah, we're going to start with a French accent. I have 3 slides on the AI agents. So 5 seconds on the goals of the workshop. This is what I was going through. You'll learn about the current state of AI agents. You'll learn why Lindy is a great platform to build AI agents, and then we'll show you some concrete use cases. All right. This is Flo. This is your picture. And then back on what I was discussing now. So I shared this in December on the distinction between automation, AI workflows, and AI agents. Why? Because now everyone's online, like selling, you need an AI agent for this, you need an AI agent for that. Well, actually, the reality is many so-called AI agents on LinkedIn in particular are just automation or AI workflows. There's nothing wrong about that, but they are vastly different solutions. Many business problems also don't need agents as a solution. It just has become a little bit more fancy to sell. And in the case of AI agents, their strength, what we believe is their strength, is the fact that they leverage what is so-called fuzzy logic. So it's something that is the opposite are very different from Boolean logic with automations. Boolean logic is if this, then that. So you have to program all of the logic, all of the edge cases yourself. While with agents, you're going to be able to handle tasks that are a bit more non-deterministic, where the reality is it depends. So for instance, you can put an AI agent on top of your email inbox and there's different situations and different types of emails you're going to receive. It's very hard to program everything that's happening in your email inbox with Boolean logic. And so they're great for that. They're great for certain use cases. They are going to be more powerful in the future, more autonomous, and that's all great. But they're not the entire solution to the business automation problem in a nutshell. So that's one thing about agents, what they can do at a high level. Briefly summarize, so they can perceive. So they are going to collect information from their environments. They are going to analyze that information. Then they are going to decide based on some goals you're going to give them. They're going to make a decision. They are going then to act. They're able to take action, execute tasks, use tools, use integrations. They're able to communicate. And the beauty with agents, and you will see in Lindy, is you can talk to your automations, you can talk to your agents because they use natural language. And finally, they can learn, they can improve over time, and they can analyze their actions, their outcomes, and get better. Last slide, before we dive into the demo. What are the components of AI agents? So we try to have something that is evergreen and that sort of like applies to different platforms. At a high level, you'll have instructions, like core instructions to program your agent, to define what it is allowed to do, what are its goals and objectives. Agents have abilities. So these are like more the capabilities borrowed from LLMs. So the ability, for instance, to analyze the sentiment of an email, to extract data from a web page. They are going to have tools. These are more like the integrations. And in the case of Lindy, which recently had added PipeDream as a partner for integrations, there's now several thousands of integrations that Lindy has. They have knowledge that it can tap into. They have memory, and finally, agents are able to cooperate together, like to cooperate with each other. So at a high level, like look, where we're going to look into the settings of some of the Lindy agents, you will find some of these. It's not entirely how Lindy works. I think there's like for instance, abilities and tools are a bit mixed in the case of Lindy. Maybe the distinction is not so, the distinction is not so needed nowadays, but at a high level, just remember, like when you're going to build agents, you're going to have these different parameters. All right. Enough said. Let's look at some demos. Do you want to start, Flo?
Sure. Yeah.
Stop sharing my screen. So be careful. So screen sharing is it's a difficult. It's a skill. Yeah.
You need to enable it for guests.
Yeah. So make co-host. Here we go.
All right. Cool. I'll share my
What do you
screen.
got?
Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I mean, like I think your explanation of AI agents is spot on. It's like just AI that does stuff. Like you can think of it as like ChatGPT, except it actually does stuff. This is my Lindy instance. So for those of you who haven't used Lindy yet, we are a no-code platform that lets you build AI agents. Under the hood, the way it works is you have this drag and drop canvas where you can lay out steps to create your own AI agents. This is one of my most complex AI agents. It is not representative of like the typical complexity of an AI agent. It's just one of my AI agents. The things people are using Lindy for, and the things I use Lindy for day to day today, like I use Lindy. I mean, you can see here in my settings. If I go to my billing, you can see my usage. My previous billing period, I think I'm consuming like 100,000 plus credits a day or something at this point. It's like I use Lindy all day, basically. So the main use cases that most people, including me, have with Lindy is personal assistance. Like businesses use it for like customer support automation, for like sales automation, for all sorts of things. But like the most universal use case is personal assistance. And personal assistance is mostly related to meetings and emails. Again, that's like the most universal use case because those are the two things that people have. Like everyone's got a bunch of meetings, everyone's got a bunch of emails. No one likes it. Like it's just overwhelming and chaotic for most people. And so most people can use an AI agent to help them put order in their meetings and in their emails. So I'll give the examples of meetings. So I use Lindy for scheduling my meetings. You can see my meeting scheduler here. I use Lindy to prepare me for my meetings. So every morning sends me what I call a daily digest with the meetings I have for this day. I use Lindy to record my meetings and take notes for these meetings. So this is my meeting recorder here. And then I use Lindy for email processing. So for example, here I have this one that's a time-sensitive email, sends me an SMS. And I actually just received one literally right before this call because Alex sent me an email right before this call where he was like, hey, Flo, looking forward to the workshop. Oh, let me dismiss the debugger here. Hey, looking forward to the workshop. Here's the Luma link. And so Lindy sent me a text message with this. So I'll actually start with this one because it's a very simple one. I wanna keep it simple at first. It's a really simple agent. It's like, hey, okay, when you receive an email, you look at my calendar. And the reason why I wanted to look at my calendar is like in order to determine if an email is time sensitive, it must also know the meetings I have on this day. So email received, look at my calendar, and then I have a condition, and it's just a natural language condition. I don't have to write code or anything. It's like, hey, if this is a time-sensitive email from someone either asking to reschedule a meeting I have today with them, or for details about it, hey, is this an in-person or a Zoom meeting? Then send me an SMS message.
Yeah.
And so go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so that's prime example, and these conditions that you express in Lindy are fuzzy conditions. They're in natural language, and good luck replicating those without AI. Basically, it's impossible. Like you would need to have so many micro conditions, like email is today, and I have a matching email from in a meeting that is today. Therefore, I enter this branch, and here you just have a what is the condition that you wrote? It's so
It's just
simple.
like if this
Yeah.
is a time sensitive email from someone asking, and it is like sometimes I have like typos in my conditions, like you barely even need to think. And so each of these nodes here, when you basically this is a prompt here, but when you have a node that is powered by AI, you can select which model powers it. So our default is Cloudflare Sonnet. Like most of the time, you don't need to touch it. Sometimes you need to touch it because you need either more speed or more intelligence. So for example, we have also phone call abilities. If you want Lindy to make or receive phone calls, you want her to use Gemini Flash because it's just much faster.
That's very cool.
Um, and same here for like the send SMS message node. It's just a prompt. So you can see here in the message that it sends me for the SMS, I'm not telling it exactly what to type. It's just a prompt. And so here I use curly brackets here, but I want to make it very clear that like this is not a programming thing or whatever. Like I could literally just remove the curly brackets and like replace it by anything I want because I'm literally prompting Cloud here, Cloud Sonnet. So this is a simple use case. I'll give a slightly more advanced use case, which is my daily digest. So every morning, it wakes up, it looks for my meetings for the day, and then it loops through every meeting. And for every meeting that it's looping through, it loops through every attendee. And then for every attendee of every meeting, it looks for their LinkedIn. It looks for my email history with this person. So it's like important context for why I'm meeting with this person. It looks for the notes of my previous meeting with this person. Now this is cool because these notes are actually brought together by another Lindy, and I'll talk about this later. But like, I don't take my own meeting notes. If it finds notes, then it's going to like get the notes, and then it's going to send me an email. And same here, it's just a prompt, and I'm like, hey, send me a markdown table with the meetings I have today, link and the link to my last notes, and so on and so forth. Let me look for an example of a digest that I received. Right here. So this is a digest I received a couple of weeks ago. So it's like, hey, today you have 2 hours and 15 minutes worth of meetings. This one is a recruiting call. This guy, this is his LinkedIn link. He was introduced by this guy. Scheduling was discussed to accommodate his offsite.
Short and sweet. Also
So
very
it's I still have a human assistant, but like little by little, Lindy is taking over more and more things that this human assistant has been doing. So I would actually say like maybe 80% plus of the things that this human assistant used to do for me like a year ago is something that Lindy is now doing for me. So including the daily digest. The meeting scheduler is another very big one. So this one is actually much more simple. It's just an AI agent. So it's just a giant prompt. And I think for this one, I use Cloudflare Opus because it's when you have these AI agents. So I really liked the taxonomy of AI agents that you had in the beginning of the call, Alex. Like it goes from like more or less on rails and like more or less flexible and more or less deterministic.
yeah.
When you have an AI agent like this that is not on rails, like I'm literally just giving it a big prompt and a bunch of preferences, you're basically really entrusting the LLM to understand really precisely your instructions and to be really smart about them. And so this is an example here of a meeting I'm scheduling. Someone introduced me to this person. Looking for a better example. Um,
And so here, most of the programming happens on the settings in the core instructions. In the SOP, you give the agent, right?
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
That's also
So
something I realized. So when we were starting using Lindy, and first, like I come from the automation space, so using Zapier, Make, N8N, platforms like these. And so first I see the flow editor. I didn't pay attention to the settings. And I thought initially, well, this is an automation platform like a regular one. So there's if this then that, and okay, there are fuzzy conditions, but so it's cool, but it's still very linear. And then gradually I realized that the clearer my instructions were in the settings, the less I needed to configure the flow editor. And then it struck me recently that actually every Lindy is an AI agent. The flow editor is going to define how deterministic you want it to be.
That's exactly right.
And this
I'm
is
nodding my head
genius. This
furiously
is so
because
genius. But I realized this like it took me 6 months of using your product to realize that every Lindy is an AI agent. Before I was saying, yeah, it's a mix. You have this agent module, so sometimes you can bring an agent in, but every Lindy is an AI agent. It's just you
every
decide with the flow
yes,
editor how deterministic it is.
that's exactly right. And I don't know if it's good or bad that it took you 6 months to figure it out, but like I'll tell you, we're doing it on purpose. Like the V1 of the product was not like this. The V1 of the product was like a lot more in your face, like AI agent in your face.
Yeah,
And we actually took a page off of Notion's playbook here. Like I'm a huge student of Notion and like a huge fan of their product, and I'm a friends with the team as well. And Ivan, the founder of Notion, told me like, their vision has always been this sort of like no code platform, like which is like this weird, like when you think about it, like Notion is a really weird alien product, right? And like the
yeah,
V1 of that product was really putting this vision in your face, was really front and center. And the V1 of the product of Notion didn't work. And the product started working the moment Notion started basically pretending to be a note taker, right? And so like I call it like the Notion head fake. I think he calls it like a chocolate covered broccoli or something, right? It's like you sign up to Notion and it's so obvious what it is. It's just a note taker, right? And then it may take you months. It may take you never. Maybe you will never realize that Notion is
yeah,
actually a weird no code platform. And so for us, it's the same thing. Like we're pretending to be Zapier, right? It's like, hey, Zapier spends so much money. They've really educated the market out there. Let's just pretend to be Zapier. Hey, don't worry about it. It's just like boxes and arrows. You know this paradigm. We've seen it before.
yeah,
No? And then eventually it clicks. It's like, oh my God, wait, actually, it's an agent.
yes. The weirdest confusion maybe at times is so you have if you come from the automation space again, you're used to see the flow of information and see I'm in this module, I might have an error in this module. And sometimes the Lindy is going to catch your task in a different place. And this is where this type of thing started happening that I was like, but it made sense what it did, but it was not following the sequence anymore. And then it struck me that, well, that's because it's an LLM, and LLM is, there's the flow, but the LLM can also figure out, well, I will find a better solution, or we are in a different situation, and we'll try to fix the problem.
100%. I'll give you an example of a time. So yes, because Everlindy is an AI agent, and because Everlindy is not actually a workflow like a Zap, they do
Yeah,
surprise you. Like they end up having these behaviors that you never built into the Lindy, which I think is awesome. Like that's my favorite thing about them. I'll give you a very concrete example that happened to me just yesterday. I have this summarizer that's called like the competitive summarizer, um, and right here. So you can see the flow editor here. I send it a message or an email. She has her own email address, and then I have a condition here, and I'm like, hey, if I sent you a YouTube video, then you go down this branch, you transcribe the video, and then you send me the summary over by email. Okay. So I emailed her yesterday or Saturday, and I was like, hey, this is like a Demis Hassabis interview on YouTube. And she tries to transcribe the video, and there's an error. And you'll see here, I have no error handler. At no point do I have like a, if there was an error, do X. I literally just be like, hey, after you transcribe the video, you send me an email back. That's all I tell it, you know? And here's the email it sends is like, hey, I attempted to retrieve the captions for the YouTube video, but unfortunately the captions are not available. And again, I get that behavior for free. And I can't tell you how often, like on a daily basis, I have agents do stuff for me that I never thought that they would be able to do.
we had a very similar case with a meeting transcriber, so we're like meeting processor, where we basically get the meeting notes in a shared Slack channel. We're a small company, so we have one Slack channel where we push all the meeting notes. And so we're able to see the past meeting notes if I don't attend the meeting, and we're able to ask questions. And we were interacting with one of the meeting notes, and we're like, oh, that's great. There's this new feature from this platform. We should make some content about it. And then Lindy said, well, you should be careful because the feature is not released yet. You got early access to view that, but you need to make sure to not talk about it before this date. I was like,
Yes.
this is great. Thank you. It worked just like that. Nothing programmed. Yeah.
Yes. I'll show you a really quick example of something that happened a while back. So this is my meeting scheduler, Lindy. Um, how? Oh. This is my meeting scheduler, Lindy, and someone here is like, hey, I took you off CC because before I realized I was speaking to an AI scheduler. Can we meet again? You know, we're based in the UK. PS, is Lindy going to replace me? Because this is an executive assistant here emailing me. And look at Lindy's reply. It's basically human level. Hey, Alice, I appreciate you checking again. We don't have time. Flo avoids scheduling meetings on Wednesday as well. And then PS, I don't think I'm replacing anyone just yet. So again, all of those are just behaviors that you get for free as a result of having these things be AI agents.
Very cool.
I'll give I guess two last quick examples of things I use Lindy for. So summarization is a huge one. I use Lindy for summarization all day. And it's really nice because I have also hooked her up, my summarizer Lindy, to be triggerable via a Slack message. So if I mention summarizer Lindy in a Slack message, then she'll summarize the thing on Slack. And so here you can see, I was like, hey, Lindy, summarize the article that I just posted here on Slack. And she extracts the article and then she sends this like big summary on Slack of the article. I have this CRM manager. I love this one. So I use it to manage my personal network. So every day I message her and I'm like, hey, I just met with this guy. He's like an investor. He's like a marketer. He's a salesperson or whatever. And then she maintains her own spreadsheet that she basically uses as like a memory. And every so often I go to her and I'm like, hey, who do I know who's an investor? So let me look for an example here that's not right here. Like we had like a launch. It's like, hey, who are the AI influencers that I know? And boom, right here, it's like, hey, these are the AI influencers that you know. One cool thing about this CRM manager as well is it knows when I'm traveling, when I book a flight for another city, and it sends me an email with the people that I know in that city that I should meet up.
I remember
And the way
having discussions with a US company. They were trying to engineer serendipity with the CRMs, and that was the use case. That was one of the use cases. Like the founder was traveling a lot, and being able to, whenever the founder is in London, see who's interesting to meet there, and engineer that. That was
I can't tell
4 years
you
ago.
on a daily basis, we have this meme inside the company. We call it like should be a Lindy. It's like on a daily basis, we see startups that were like, you can recreate this in like 5 minutes on top of Lindy.
Very
Actually, it's funny. I edited this one yesterday because the way she checks whether I'm traveling to a city is that she observes my inbox. And if I have an email that's like a flight confirmation, then she gets my CRM and then she sends me an email. She's like, hey, send me a list of people for my CRM that I should hit up when I'm in that destination. And just yesterday I edited it because I'm just coming back from a trip in Tokyo. And I just got destroyed by mosquitoes there. And I'm like, man, that sucks. I wish I'd known that there would be mosquitoes in Japan. I would have like bought some anti-mosquito spray or something. And so now I've instructed this Lindy like, oh, by the way, which is not even like a CRM manager function. I'm just like, hey, by the way, since you're already observing my flight confirmations, please let me know if there are mosquitoes in the cities in this time of the year.
This is really cool. Yeah, you really went deep the personal assistant route.
All right, one last example, and then I'll stop because otherwise I'll never stop. Recruiting. This one, so I'm always concerned when I show my agents that I'm going to like intimidate people with like how complex they are. It's just you sort of acquire that skill and like I always compare it to like a spreadsheet. Like at first, a spreadsheet is very intimidating, and then once you get the hang of it and you understand how spreadsheets work, like your own spreadsheets can look very crazy, but like you build them little by little, iteratively. So here it's the same thing. Like you don't build this in one shot. Um, but basically, this is a Lindy recruiter. I'll just show you a task so it's more clear what she does. Um, I asked her to help me find people. So here I'm like, hey, help me find the directors of SMB sales from one of these companies for a head of sales position. So those are the companies I'm hiring for from. And so she looks for people. She's like, hey, I found one person. Here's the name of the candidate. Let me try another search to see if we can find more. Again, because it's an agent, like I never asked him to do that. It's just like, hey, one person is not enough. Let me try other criteria and see if I can find more. So it just iterates and finds more people. And I'm like, okay, can you do more searches with like senior manager as well and no enterprise? She's like, okay, I found these people. And then she's like, yeah, which of these candidates should I reach out to? And I'm like, yeah, reach out to all of them, please. And here it's looping through every one of these people. First, it's checking if I've already reached out to them before. And since I haven't reached out, she sends this email that's like, hey, this is Flo. We're doing well. We're looking for a head of sales. Do you want to chat soon?
How much control, like this? I'm always wary when there's this last step. So everything that is internal is fine. The
Right.
moment you're sending an email, even if it's Flo sending an email, you don't want to send an email that's off. That email, those emails examples you had were great. Like, what do you give in the instructions, or where is that knowledge stored?
Totally. It's just a send email node here. I have a prompt here
Okay,
that's like, hi, first name,
gotcha.
and you have like in one click, you can toggle ask for confirmation. And so that will
Yeah.
forbid Lindy from actually performing the action without your say so. But look, you can see in my case, I actually used to have this toggle done, which is the way to go initially. But once you've built confidence in your Lindy, you just turn it off.
No, absolutely. Very cool. Straight to the point, just like it was.
We got a lot of questions here. If you have time, how these flows check or handle possible errors coming from LLM imprecision or hallucinations? I sometimes wish OpenAI was not as aggressive in releasing ChatGPT as early as they did, because I think if they had waited just one more year, which by the way, I understand why they did it this way, and like this is why they're winning. But like if they had waited one more year, I feel like people wouldn't be as concerned about hallucinations. Like in my experience, hallucinations don't happen nearly as much as they used to, and they're basically starting to be at human level. Like now, LLMs increasingly just know when they don't know. They don't make stuff up anymore. When they do, or when you're really concerned about them making stuff up, then you just turn on like this ask for confirmation toggle that we just discussed.
I agree.
And
I
if
think the quality is going up. And what really speaks for your platform is that the hallucination tends to be more present the bigger the prompt, the more the context, the more you pack in complexity in the instructions. If you think about what Lindy is deep down, it's breaking down the process in different steps. And so when the step is to write the email, the prompt doesn't have to be that extensive. If you had to pack the email instruction in a gigantic agent SOPs of already 5 pages, and this is how the behavior should be, and then at the last step you send the email, there's more risk of hallucination. But you, by construction or the way Lindy works, you break that down into simple steps. And yeah, with the models also getting better, this is something that slightly is going away more and more.
totally. So Adrian is asking which models to use for which Lindy actions and conditions. Frankly, my recommendation is to not worry about it and to just leave the default model, which is Cloud Sonnet 4 right now. It's good enough for 99% of use cases, and it's what I use for 99% of use cases. Sometimes, if you have phone calls, use Gemini 2 Flash because it's faster. I'll give a quick demo of a phone call because I just think it's really cool. So this is my chief of staff that I can call. Hey, can you tell me a joke? So you can see here the latency was super short because I'm just using Gemini to Flash. If I was to use like another model here, like it'd be a lot slower. But frankly, just use Sonnet 4. Sometimes if you really need extreme intelligence, use O3, but it's gonna bankrupt you. It's gonna cost you a lot of money. Tom is asking, I'm interested in data privacy with Lindy. If I give you access to my Google Drive, emails, etc., how is my data anonymized and safeguarded? And is it possible that it will be used as training data in the future? No, it is not possible that it will be used as training data in the future. We have agreements in place with all our model providers to make sure that like they never train with this data. And this is why, by the way, we don't offer every model. People sometimes are asking us about DeepSeek and about like other models like this. Like we don't offer them because we can't get these agreements with providers. So no, like your data is never used for training. How do we make sure that your data is anonymized and safeguarded? So we have a trust center. If you go to lindy.ai, I think it's linked at the bottom of the website with all our certifications and stuff. But yeah, right here, there's we're like encrypted addresses in transit. We're SOC 2 compliant, which is required for the kind of enterprise deal that we have. We're HIPAA compliant, so we're even used for like sensitive healthcare data. Like we have some big clinics in the US using us for sensitive healthcare information. And here, if you go to the trust center, you can find more information about like any like data breaches, which we haven't had so far, and like the safety of the platform and so on and so forth. So yeah. Can I show the prompt for the meeting scheduler? Man, I don't really wanna because it's my meeting scheduler. I'm always afraid of like what I'm showing here. Let me take a quick look.
Can I share
Meeting.
something in the middle? You want to check and I show something in between or?
Yeah, I'll check. No, I think this is fine.
This is fine. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
then
yeah. This is
check
fine. I
it.
mean, right here, well, it does matter. Yeah, it's like, hey, you are an AI assistant. If you're just added to an email, try to figure out from the email whether you should respond or not. Many emails do not require your response. Sometimes the action to perform is to find times and offer times. After you have sent times, wait 48 hours in order to send a reminder if they did not accept the time. Sometimes they mistakenly remove your user from the email thread, so add your user back.
Yeah, basically going through all the edge cases in
Yeah.
plain language.
It's similar to training a human. It's just like you add more and more information to it. Yeah. And then if you see your agent screw up, you add more information or you upgrade to a beefier model.
Yeah. Very cool.
The transition from automation thinking to AI agent thinking is something I still struggle with. It's a paradigm shift. Okay, the way to think about it is everything gets clearer once you embrace what I call context accrual. So context accrual is this idea that you don't have with other automations, you only get it with the AI agents. It's this idea that um, every step in your quote unquote automation inherits all the context built up by all the previous steps. So here, for example, I'm like, okay, you receive an email, you get my CRM, then you send an email back. And here it's just a prompt, and this prompt refers back to all the context built up by all the previous steps. So I can just refer to my CRM in natural language because it's got that in its context window. Same for like that destination. It's got the destination in the context window because it sees the email that it just reacted to. If I have development experience and I want to create custom tools, how do I do that? We have an HTTP fetch action. So you can just do here and you do, I think it's right here, HTTP request. Right here. You can just write any custom request that you want.
And you recently launched, and apparently was the most requested feature, the code action. Do you have an example of what people are using in the code action? I tried to play with it, but I didn't have a use case so far.
Let me think. We sometimes use it when we have an AI agent that like receives a lot of data and we need it to like parse it in a very specific way, like write like a regular expression or something, then we use the code action. Another thing you can use it for is the downside of context accrual, which again is this concept that like the context builds up step by step by step in an in an agent. The downside of it is that it becomes very expensive because you're basically jamming the context window of the model with all of this context. So one thing you can do is we have an action that's called clear context. Um, right here, clear task context. It's sometimes useful to invoke a code action before a clear task context action to just extract something very specific from the history that you want to maintain.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Someone's asking, after introducing Lindy to your own assistant, what did my assistant get upgraded to? What new tasks can they take care of? My assistant these days is basically a head of HR for the company. So like he's helping. I mean, we literally just moved last week to a new office. Like he's been helping with moving to the new office and like some packing, some unpacking, taking care of like setting up the internet. There's like some AC drama right now that we're figuring out. It's taking care of like employee onboarding. It's taking care of like a lot of recruiting and like recruiting coordination. Um, yeah, just I mean, there's never any shortage of work to do.
Full of other questions. Then I have a couple of things I want to show you and get your thoughts on.
Yeah, I'm wondering like if we should go through all the questions. Josh here
Maybe
is
sure.
asking.
Let's go maybe back to it later. I will have a couple of things to show you. So interestingly enough, I don't have so many personal productivity use cases. We went a bit of a different route. So the trick is going to be screen sharing as usually. Very good. And yeah, I think we're good. Okay. So I have one first. So you talk about emails and winning back the day on your inbox, and I actually have one agent on top of my inbox. So this email writer. If we look at the flow, so this one is basically responsible for processing all the emails I receive, and we have basic condition that is determining whether the email requires me to write a response. This is where I have work to do, or basically categorizes emails I don't need to necessarily read and archive. So I'm a bit radical to this, like I archive a lot. I still want to be notified whenever that action is done because you want to make sure that, yeah, potentially you're not missing the wrong email gets archived. And then for the ones that requires an answer, I have a dedicated Slack channel where that email is pushed. We get some email instructions from a Notion page. So I could do it inside Lindy directly, but we can sometimes share the instructions across different agents. And so another thing you can do is write those instructions or this extra context in a Notion page and fetch that page at this point in time. And then as Flo mentioned, we then have that context inside the whole workflow and the agent can write from there. And then I have an agent that's going to write the email. And here, right now, the UI that I have is it's not writing and sending directly the email. Don't worry, I still respond to my email, but it's doing this in Slack. So this is the channel in question. So you can see there's a lot of archived. And then I have an email that requires an answer. And basically here in this case, if I would summon the agent here, so that the Lindy agent right here is only going to respond if I reply to that initial message, then it's going to draft the response. And all I need to do, let's reply to this one, ask to reschedule. So all I need to do now in this case is to ask to reschedule, right? So prompt my email, prompt what I want to reply. And then eventually this should trigger the agent and it's going to take care of the rest. So I'm just specifying what I want, what is my response, because this is not something necessarily that the agent can guess. And then it's going to draft the email response. From there, the email is not sent, and I have basically some controls where I could say, okay, either I want to correct that draft. Here in this case, is way too verbose, like there's too much written, or I can draft it in my Gmail or send it directly. That's one example. Which I've been using for quite a while, and which is quite useful. And in that knowledge that I have, sorry, that knowledge that we get here, I have all the useful links that we share. So links to our courses or the next workshop, or so all the things where you always spend some time looking for the reference or the link are in this Notion document. All I need to do is update that page whenever something changes. And then you can easily share your calendar link, share all these types of information, and that will make you will have then the Lindy generate the email. So that's one example. And for this one, you definitely need an agent because you have that fluid back and forth or cycle until the email is good to go, and then we're ready to send. So that's one. The second one, which we put on our YouTube channel, is an agent to respond to comments.
Raum für Entspannung, Spaß.
So this one, you will notice like a lot of the things we're doing actually, Flo, is I put agents on top of inboxes, and I always have a human in the loop here in this case because we're still tweaking things until the result is good. So this one is looking at any new comment on our YouTube channel. It's going to exclude ourselves because otherwise, whenever we respond, we trigger that again. We're going to get information from the YouTube video, and then we're going to post the comment. First step, we post the comment in this channel right here. Right here. Yeah, so that's an example. Okay, let's look at the last one. Tu parles très bien anglais. Okay, somebody said I spoke very well English. So I'm not sure it's the best, but okay. On that video, and the first step is to post the comment and the link to the video, so I have all the context, but it's also drafting the response. So this one I didn't post directly because it's very, it's the polite form. So, but from there, again, the actions or the different comments I have for this agent is either send directly, say if it's good to go and I say publish, it will publish directly the comment. If it still requires editing, I can suggest an alternative and then have it publish. And we even have a route that is already automated for the comments where people simply say thank you. Thank you, great video. There's not much to say there. We can already tell, basically right here, determine whether the comment is a generic praise. Yeah. If yes, auto reply in 2 sentences, short and sweet, encouraging the viewer to build with the tech, referencing the video if helpful. And like some of the comments are already automated. If you say, thank you, great video, 9x on this topic, you will get an automated reply on that aspect. And anything else is more like AI assisted. Yeah, I'm not sure if you have like a lot of, this is something that you see often, Flo, or this is more on the edge, but like this is how I really like to build the agents is to help me get on top of inboxes. And where I find Lindy very strong is it's super easy to build these channels where, in the first layer, I have let's say the instance, it's a YouTube comment or it's an email and so on. And then the action happens in the thread. Super easy to build. Back to you, Flo. I have maybe one last one, which we built this week, which we built between this week and last week. Bit more advanced and also testing. One, two, so I call it auto reach. This one's a bit more advanced. So our CRM is Atio. And if you signed up to this event, you landed in Atio and you landed in a list that's called events, where we log who you are, but also the event you sign up to. And where if you, let's say, it's the 5th workshop you attended, we're going to see that. Like we're going to see your name, we enrich you as well, we have all that information. And basically the workflow starts with pushing that information to the Lindy, extracting lead infos. So maybe I could do it with code here. I don't know what's the best to do it with code or with the LLM prompt. So extracting infos about the company, the person, their engagement. So how many events they attended, how many tutorials they watched, did they sign up to our courses, and so on. Qualify the lead. Right now it's very basic because we haven't really refined that. Route the lead with 3 routes. So either it's for personal founder outreach, automated outreach, we'll do that later, automated, but right now it's all manual, or disqualified. And let me show you a little bit what we got as outcome. And sorry, all the way down to it's drafting the message. And at the end, I have an agent module that's going to be able, just like Auto for my email writer, is going to be able to send draft email in my inbox and reach out to the person. And this is how it looks like right now. It's week 1, so be forgiving, but it's qualifying. Let's say we have Flo here. Okay. We don't know the ARR, but it's maybe up and to the right, so pretty good. And then, okay, this qualify for founder outreach. Make some changes. Okay, we have this. We have some summary information, and then we have already the draft. And what is interesting here is we are using all the context. So we can see, hey, Nina, maybe she's here. You sign up for building AI agents with Lindy workshop. Given your role as global learning innovation, I should definitely talk to Lina. So curious if you're exploring AI agents for L&D initiatives. We haven't helped similar consulting firms, so I will need to adjust this. But basically, we'll be soon able to just draft that email in my inbox or have it send it directly from Slack. And we can basically look at every day, look at this list of new generated content leads and see which ones we want to activate. And this one I think is going to be pretty good. So
Yeah,
that's the ones I wanted to share that are more like systems, especially the last one is really going to be integral for our GTM. Like we generate a lot of attentions with our workshops and content and so on. And now we want to talk to you, and that's a good way. And we'll be able also to reach out on Lindy, on LinkedIn using the same Lindy agent.
Yeah, that pattern of like collaborating with your Lindies on Slack is a very big one. We have we have multiple Lindies that we just collaborate with on Slack. So like we have like the summarizer Lindy I mentioned, and we have this like recruiter Lindy that I really like. So like here, this is a teammate pinging me. It's like, hey, look at this guy. His internship just ended at Perplexity. He's super smart. He's looking for his next internship. And I'm like, hey, the recruiter Lindy, do your thing. And she's like, yeah, like I'm understanding you want me to reach out to this guy. Can you please confirm which position? And I'm like, yeah, AI engineer position or software engineer. Tell him we'd be open to either. And she's like, all right, I'll reach out. Look, since this was recommended by Ali, I will make sure to mention that in my outreach. Like again, this is awesome. This is great. It's like, hey, I've reached out to his Perplexity email, and she's like, oh no, his actual email is this one. This is like, oh, I've already reached out to his Perplexity email. So yes, like this kind of use case of like agents that you collaborate with over Slack is really big for us.
This one's really cool too. Like, and so the trigger for maybe for those who don't know how to configure that, the trigger, you have that add recruiter Lindy. How do you do that? Is it like particular keyword? Is it watching all the channels or is it on a particular Slack channel?
Good question. I have got this recruiter Lindy here that I use for all sorts of recruiting tasks. Wait, it's not here. Where is it? Oh, right here. basically, it's just so it observes
Oh.
every channel, and as long as we mention Lindy dash recruiter or recruiter Lindy, it just triggers.
And it's that easy then, huh, to trigger. So which means that's also one thing with again, we've used all the other automation platforms, tested and so on. The ease you have to trigger these agents in the right context makes a huge difference. Like the between having to go to a specific channel and post something, sometimes the context is in a different channel. And here in this case, it makes sense to have an agent that can be triggered based. So you need to be careful with the keywords that are triggering. So because if the trigger is revenue or customer, it's going to be triggered all day. But so you just need to have a keyword or passphrase that's specific enough. But it makes sense to have the possibility to pull this agent from any channel.
Yes.
See, it's
Yeah.
a nice one too. Like
yeah, and if I want it for by the way, so people have been asking here. This is
what is this? I don't have access to this.
You don't
What's
have
going
access to
on?
this yet, but it's an agent that creates agents, and it's not working right now. This is why it's not public yet.
Okay.
Why is it not working? Yeah, I know we're at time, and I do have to jump as well. Everyone, you can reach me at flo@lindy.ai. Feel free. Any questions, any way I can help. We've got like a Slack community. We've got Marvin in the Slack community who's like super helpful. Big shout out to him. We also offer custom agent building services. Like many people, they join these calls. They're like, oh my God, this is awesome. I want agents all day. I don't want to build them myself. We can help with this. We can connect you with people who help with this. Alex obviously can help with this. Yeah, just feel free to reach out.
Super cool. Thanks, Flo. Thanks a lot for your time and the great demos. I'm gonna stay a little bit longer if I'm gonna try. Like, if there's any questions that are Lindy related on, like especially data privacy and so on, I am out. But and I will channel you to the Flo's team. But if you have more questions on how to build things, and I saw a few questions on those things that I showed, I'm gonna be there for a couple more minutes. Thank you, Flo. We should do this again once this AI agent builder is going to be out.
Absolutely. By the way, someone is asking whether we are hiring. We are hiring. This is our job board. It's on Notion. Reach out if you fit any of these positions.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, Flo. Merci.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Salut. All right. I'm going to go through some of your questions. So bring me your so the last questions from Smith. Would the recording be available? We are live on YouTube right now. Subscribe to our channel. So yes, and we will also send you the recording tomorrow per email since you've signed up to this. So no worries on that. Everything will be shared. We have Charlotte needs help with 11 Labs with Lindy. Can you tell us a bit more about your use case? I'm a bit curious there. What are you trying to do, Charlotte? Are you still with us?
Is it easier if I speak?
Hey.
Hi,
Yeah.
I am here. Hello. Yeah, whenever I try and I've been trying to like craft a sales message, so I've been using like AI Write, and it writes it out perfect. And then I want it to go and fetch that recording from 11 Labs using my voice, which I've pre-recorded in 11 Labs. But when I try and fetch it, it just returns a binary, like lots of zeros and ones error, and I'm not really sure why that's happening.
So help me understand, are you trying to generate a message with your voice with 11 Labs, or are you trying to...
Yeah.
Okay. And is there a module in Lindy where you're doing that? Would you be able to share your screen, or it's too...
I think I deleted it, that that one, because I was like, I give up.
Okay.
I'll just check. If you want to ask another question while I go looking for it.
Yeah. Will there be more workshops about Lindy? Given my tendency to build left and right with it, yes. There were also past workshops where, for instance, this inbox manager that I showcased is also Like there's a live workshop where I show how to build it step by step, a very basic version of it. That's on our YouTube channel. There was a question on the GTM from Elam. I particularly like the GTM use cases where it cold emails prospects. How scalable is it? Can teams use that at scale? Yeah, you can. Flo already answered, but like you can definitely send emails at scale with Lindy. The only limitation of what I showed in Slack, which I'm realizing now, is when you have high volume, a Slack channel starts to be a bit overwhelming. And so you want to maybe have, I can show you another interface. Like there's one that I'm doing for instance, for LinkedIn comments. So again, in the logic of scaling some of the things we do that are repetitive, when we promote our events like this one, we post on LinkedIn. And then we ask people to basically comment, and we will share the link. Now, the problem with that is when we are very successful, we get a lot of people commenting, and then you need to do that manually, comment after comment. So here in this case, I have a trigger that I trigger that from already an existing post, a LinkedIn post that is stored in Airtable, and we get the post content. We retrieve the existing comments, so basically all the people who asked for the workshop, and then we have an agent that's going to generate for each post a reply. And typically the reply is not going to be like whatever I write on LinkedIn is me, but things like just the link to the workshop. Yeah, just the link to the workshop. Here you can register there. And then we're entering a loop, and we're going to create, and there's already a question on the rate limit for LinkedIn. I am not posting the comments directly. We are creating the comments in Airtable first. So we're creating the comments, and I can show you from this interface. So then you have an interface like this where you say, okay, yeah, here's the registration link. Thanks, Jaco, is the link to register. Yeah. So all those comments are prepared, and I can approve them so that they're ready to publish. And then we have one final workflow, which is built with another platform called Airtop. And Airtop is going to have basically one agent go on the page of the post where the comment is exactly. And it's a browser agent that is going to type the comment and post it. Maybe it's something I will share another time. But the thing that is important here is, given the volume of comments, this in Slack breaks because sometimes there's hundreds of comments to generate. And I've found that an inbox interface in Airtable like this one is a little bit easier and makes things a little bit more, a little bit simpler to manage. You can have more interactions, you can have more buttons. So that's when you start to have high volume, and maybe like for outreach, this is the next step. If we start to have too many outreach messages generated in that Slack channel and it becomes hard to manage, we will move to something like this with maybe an interface in Airtable. Charlotte, you are muted. You're back. No.
Oh, I can't share my screen.
Let me fix that 1 second.
I'm sure there's something really basic I'm doing wrong on this, Lindy. I've managed to create lots of flows so far, especially the personal assistant side of things. And I've been like super impressed, but this one thing I just can't seem to figure out.
What do you do professionally, Charlotte?
I was running a personal assistant agency, and now I'm running an AI-enabled personal assistant agency.
Gotcha.
Thanks to you guys mainly. So
Very cool.
yeah, really, really exciting.
You should be able to share your screen now.
Great.
All right. Yeah.
So
you
I
receive a
haven't
message?
filled this out because this is like my own explanation, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is like I've just like recreated a basic one just to show you what's happening. And then I've plugged this in. And then ideally it sends it back to me. I've also experimented with it, telling it to upload it to the drive instead, and neither of them is seeming to work.
Okay. Have you, so we can I'd be happy to take that offline.
Sure.
So this is in this interface, you're going to see like the run. If you use this in the test environment, so if you go to the Flow editor and you do tests, you should be able to see a bit more things right here. So you should be able to, here you need to enter a message, any message of your choice. And you should be able to see a little bit more what's happening there. And in the meantime, we check the other questions that we may have.
There we go.
Where is everyone? In the chat. Any discount codes to get started on Lindy? There's 400 credits for free to get started. So for simple use cases, so let me see your screen. So what do we get? Okay, so here I would say I'm not sure the issue. Okay, the issue is in text to speech. Here, I would look into. It looks like so basically to send that data to 11 Labs, it's expecting it in a particular format. What you have is it's an array of different properties. You have voice ID, you have it's like a JSON file, and I'm not sure that the way you send that data is actually working. And why do you have this write section, this write action in the middle? What is it for? It's to generate the message.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you tried in the settings? Have you tried giving overall context with the task that it's trying to achieve, or if you go in the settings on top?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay.
So here, the first thing I would try, and then we'll move to another question, but like what you're missing, and this is one of the things, it's very important for the others. A lot of the technical issues you might encounter in the old automation days, you had to go in the step and you have to fix it. Now, what you can do to drastically improve your chances of this working without having to debug is to use that context window to no pun, because context window means something else, but you to bring in that context what you want the Lindy to do. Explain in plain words. You're going to receive a message. Then you're going to need to generate a transcript that we're going to send to 11 Labs for voice generation. Like if you do that, you're giving basically more information to the Lindy so that I can complete the task. I can't guarantee it's going to fix your issue, but you should definitely add that, giving that context. A lot of the programming is going to be in you defining this SOP there. And that's how it can catch up mistakes, for instance. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll give that a try. Thank you.
Super. So Mazen. So I'm not sure if you still. I still see you in highlights, Charlotte. So I don't know if you're going to be highlighted for the whole video, but Andre, is the use case of having a Lindy checking for new entries on a services marketplace website and scrape it to review its quality and claim it a good one for Lindy or not possible? So for websites that are behind login and one-time password, one of the difficulties is going to be precisely that. It's going to be difficult to get through that initial step. For anything that's public, Lindy has very good scrapers. Like if you look in the tools that Lindy has, there's a category scrapers and pretty powerful ones. So let's say for the usual suspects, you should be able to do simple like the usual use cases through Lindy. Now, if it's behind login, so let's go to the Flow editor and it's like, let's say I want to add something, action, and you will see scrapers. If this is right here, maybe you've got a chance. If your website is a bit specific, that would have been good to have still Flow now, but I don't think you will get good results with Lindy. You will need to get that data differently in the first place. One way to do that, if it's behind login, is to try a solution like Airtop. We had a live session with them 2 weeks ago with the CEO of Airtop. And Airtop is a platform where you can configure browser agents. So what they do, these agents, they can go to a web page that you specify and they can log in, and you're able to configure to say, okay, go to this web page, this is my password, log in, and then extract the content of a page or go through a list and extract the content. A bit harder to configure, but a very compelling platform if your use case requires that.
Thank you. Yeah, right now we are trying with Replit, but of course also is working. We are testing, but I was just wondering if I'll check this Airtop. That looks quite interesting for Browserway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, you can Amir, the CEO of Airtop, is very accessible if you have questions and so on. They are very responsive. So
thank you, Alexander.
Mazen, are we able to build a workflow and monetize it by calling the workflow from our own website and sell this offering? Well, yes. I think there's definitely, if you have a workflow that you think would fit a specific niche, cover a need for a specific niche, you can, nothing prevents you, as long as you pay your Lindy bill for the execution of the workflow, you're totally able to do that. Actually, as a matter of fact, like before we were doing AI enablement, AI training at 9X, we were an automation agency. None of us knows how to code. We do a little bit of JavaScript, but far from a proper developer, programmer. And that was our business. That was basically creating workflows for companies. And yeah, and the other step is if you want to productize your workflow and sell the same workflow to multiple people, you should be able to, yeah, like there are ways to do that. How to lock in one-on-one time with you for some guidance, Alex? It's a bit difficult now. Now we are pretty much on the enablement side. You can book a call to see where we can help, but we try to not sell our time anymore. But can have a 15-minute chat if you book on our website. I'll be happy to chat. Where can we find the workshop with Airtop? On our YouTube channel. You will find in the, so let me show you. Somewhere, yeah, maybe that's this one, but Airtop 9X, you will find it right here.
Scale your marketing.
And that was with the one and only Amir, and he had very good work examples for GTM as well. So okay, 26 till the end. Very good. Any last questions? Can you talk about average credit usage? Yes. So my take on this, you need to be careful with credit consumption with platforms like Lindy or any platform that is using AI. You have the first version of your workflow, and then you have the final one, and the one that's ready for scale. The first version of your workflow, you don't care about credits. You want the version to work. So I would tend to put the smartest model in the room on the task and see if it can do it. Exclude O3, that takes too much time, but typically, if you have good taste, Claude 4 sonnets, always good models, like always my favorites. These tend to be very performant, good at writing, good at coding, good at pretty much everything. So you want to put the best first, Claude 4 Sonnet or Claude 4 Opus on this. Then you will start looking at the different steps. the different steps in your workflow. Let me give you an example of the GTM Lindy that I built. I already did a micro optimization there. So here we go, back again. Now this one, auto reach. Okay. So if we take the task execution and we look at recent ones, then you can see, okay, so I received data, 4.2 credits to extract the lead information, 4.6 to qualify the lead. Then you can see here I have a lot less credits. What happened? If I break down this whole flow, what is mission critical? It's the webhook that we send, the data we send here, there's a lot of data, like I think several pages. Well, actually, this is more structured now. So we did change things, but it used to be very, like a lot of information. So that task of extraction, it is paramount. So I go from a lot of information to I want exactly the facts about this company. Yeah. So there I will keep a good model. Qualifying the lead, there I would keep a good model. Drafting the message, there I will keep a good model because that's the end product of that whole workflow. It's the good message, relevant message, very good. But these steps, and typically the internal steps like sharing the lead on log outreach, like sharing that message, and that message is already formatted. So it's a very basic task. Or afterwards, sharing the lead infos and signals. We already extracted that information and summarized it. So here it is really just about repurposing something that's already been done. Then for these two steps, I'm putting 4.0 mini because the job's already done. Like the info's there, I just need to push this on Slack. And so there I save a little bit of credits. These are the type of optimizations down the line. So I'd probably say for like between this and that, between 8 to 10 credits. If this starts scaling and we have like 50 leads a day, it's 500 credits a day that I'm saving. This is how you should think about it. Now, if you think about the absolute cost of that, if potentially we are able to follow up with any inbound lead with a relevant message within the day they sign up, and I have to pay 100 euros a month for that, I will pay 100 euros for that. Like, this is totally worth it. Like, all of these solutions, it's really a matter of like, you need to have a business case for this. Like, it needs to make sense. If it's to generate emails that we never send, or if it's to test things, of course, it's going to get expensive. But if out of the 200 leads a week we might get in this flow, 3 of them, like even 1 of them closes, it's already worth it. Hope that makes sense. You gotta spend money a little bit to make money, and this is the type of thing where don't be cheap there. If it's for personal productivity, I can understand that. Yeah, like Flo is spending 100,000 credits on his personal productivity. That's a bit expensive. Not everyone can afford that necessarily. But if it's for a company, I would not. You should start spending and testing aggressively, and then you can optimize later. That was on credit usage. Good. All right, we are a little bit over time. This was fun. Next week, we're going to have the last workshop before we do a little break because we have an AI conference here in Berlin. Next week, I will see a Lindy competitor, which I haven't used so much, called Gumloop. And we will be joined with Aaron Cohenblit, who's the head of community and education there. And Gumloop is going to be interesting because they have their new MCP feature. I haven't played so much with Gumloop, more for lack of time. And yeah, we test all the platforms. We don't have necessarily the time to test everything. So I'll be as curious as you. Just basically discovering what the Gumloop MCP is. And yeah, Aaron is one of the great educators in the space. He's been teaching Airtable, he's been teaching Webflow, now he's with Gumloop. So it's also a session you don't want to miss. And I'm very much looking forward to this one. So I hope to see you there. Bye-bye.